In this video, I want to do a full breakdown analysis over the first reveal of footage that we got for The Last of Us HBO show, coming in 2023. Dr. Pooplove here, and I have to be honest, when I first heard that The Last of Us was getting a TV adaptation, I was skeptical, but the more information we get, the more I'm actually excited for this series. And this latest bit of footage we saw from HBO is no exception, especially because it does seem to have some parts that are pretty faithful to the original. And before we deep dive into what they showed us, this is your last warning to jump ship, because I will be talking The Last of Us spoilers. But let's get right into it. And the first thing we see is Joel and Ellie crossing a snowy bridge in the middle of winter. And if you recall, in the original winter section of the game, Joel was near death for most of it, and most of the playable sections had Joel and Ellie separated. So if this is going to be faithful to the original, this might be after they reunite. Joel seems to be moving pretty well here, but could just be the shot. I'm not sure if he's injured or not. It's kind of hard to tell from the little bit of footage that we saw. The next thing we get is our first reveal of Ellie speaking, but the voiceover is connected to a later scene that we see. So I'll talk about it then, because what we see on the screen is what looks like Joel giving Ellie her first gun in Pittsburgh, probably around the time that she saved his life. And we know the location was actually moved to Kansas City. And if you look at this scene, they're inside of a building and he's kind of giving it to her, showing her how to use it. And this kind of veers a little bit away from the original, in which he gives it to her after you're fighting through the financial plaza. But at least we still have that moment where he does give her her first gun. We next have Pedro, aka Joel, running with his daughter Sarah in the opening section, and you can really see the emotion on these two actors' faces as they are experiencing the infected for the first time. I was a little bit worried about Pedro because most of the acting we've seen from him has been behind a helmet, but this has kind of assured me that he knows how to emote pretty well. We also see the connection from Ellie's initial voiceover to the real moment where Joel and Ellie fight, as Joel tries to have her stay with Tommy while he goes off to do his surviving. And these two voiceovers are actually verbatim from the game, which is really cool.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everybody I have cared for has either died or left me.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you.
And I gotta say, Pedro Pascal really sounds like Joel here, and that is getting me pretty excited. The scenes move pretty fast from here, but we get some pretty cool glimpses and hints as to what we can see in this game. We see Joel and Ellie driving around their car into Pittsburgh, much like we see in the game. We see Ellie twirling around her famous switchblade, so we know that's going to play a role. And we see Nick Offerman as Bill, and I suppose this is also part of Bill's town. I'm really excited to see his portrayal. I think he's probably going to be a crowd favorite. We then see this really cool action shot with Ellie running and firing in what looks like her classic winter getup. And it really makes me wonder how they are going to weave the prequel Left Behind into this story. I imagine maybe right after Joel gets hurt that we have some sort of flashback episode that covers those events. And then we get a really good glimpse at an infected, an aspect that I think will be key to the believability of this world. And I'm excited to see some really great makeup work and prosthetics here. It looks pretty cool from what I see. And so with everything they showed us, I can't help but be super excited for the show. And I wonder now, as HBO is actually starting to kind of speak about it and reveal it, when we'll get kind of a more full trailer. Perhaps on The Last of Us Day, which is September 26th, 2022. But while we wait for that, you should check this video out, which goes into some more details about what we know about The Last of Us HBO so far. But until then, so long, Pooper Troopers.